Welcome to the TROWE Podcast, your ultimate destination for mastering the world of real estate and mortgage with an unwavering and huge emphasis on maintaining the right mindset. You know, in this ever-evolving landscape of real estate and mortgage, success absolutely requires more than just industry knowledge. It absolutely demands resilient and positive mindset. I'm anxious to share with you my experiences, storytelling, special guests. Let's get started. Focused on thinking, retaining, obtaining, and winning every single day. That's what TROWE stands for. Hold on tight. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to another episode of the TROWE broadcast. Remember, think, retain, obtain, win every day. That is what we do. And I'm excited. It's been a minute since we've posted a podcast, but we have some special guests with us here today. First, Amy Clark with Figure, one of my partners here at Figure and working with strategic partnerships. So Amy, thank you for being on the call here with us today.
Thank you for having us, Tim.
And then maybe most importantly, because we're going to dive in and pick this gentleman's brain, but we have Alex Israel here with Hearth. And I hear the word Hearth and I think my fireplace hearth. By the way, I just built one of those this last year. So Alex, thank you for being on the call.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Very excited.
So listen, I want to dive in a little bit. We were just talking over the last couple weeks, really from a marketplace situation. I'm going to be a mortgage guy here for just a second. And Amy, you and I talk all the time on the regular, of course. And one of the things that my opinion, if you will, is that so many homeowners, of course, have that sub 4% rate and in a lot of cases even lower. So I'm, I'm being conservative by saying sub 4. And what's happened is compared to our current north of 7% interest rates, a lot of homeowners, though they think they might want to move, they're not, because they are actually improving or enhancing their existing home, keeping their existing financing in place and enhancing and improving. Would you say that's what you're seeing as well, Alex and Amy both?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a pretty similar shift. People are looking inwards for projects as far as, hopping on Zillow to find something new. So it's a nice space to be in, working in the home improvement space at the moment.
Yeah. So now let's dive into the home improvement space. So Amy, you have lots of things going. Your team and Figure are working on partnering up with, in fact, gentlemen like Alex and Hearth to help provide financing. Yes?
Yes.
For said project. So, and you so far, Amy, have had some success regarding solar projects, HVAC projects. I mean, list out some of the things that we've done so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this product works really well with a few different verticals in the home improvement market. Solar definitely being one of them, but your larger projects like your kitchen remodels, your additional dwelling units, your pools, bathroom remodels, that's where it's definitely, making a hit for contractors to be able to offer.
Yeah, huge demand. I'm seeing it all the time. In fact, just so that everyone's clear, listening with Figure in our HELOC, which is, again, an incredible, easy process, and the product is a home equity line of credit secured, right? And we're going to talk about that in a minute, versus just personal loans and credit cards and that type of thing. However, that process quickly gets homeowners their funds to pay for their home improvement projects, if you will. Now, Alex, to you, that is where you all come in. You, just kind of lay it out for us. What is Hearth doing, working with contractors, homeowners, so on and so forth?
Sure. So we are in the fintech space as a software company that is really helping the home improvement contractor world with offering monthly payment options through our financing partners, and just helping them run their overall business with things like digital quotes, digital contracts, and then an internal payment processor so that you get a little bit of everything. But since we are mostly focusing on the financing side, we've got a lot of options at the moment, but we think we can do a little bit better with some of the larger projects that maybe our solar contractors, more of our general contractors that can do a little of everything. We can tap into that, a little bit more.
Yeah, so you mentioned some current products that you have, and we've talked about it a little bit in the past with lower loan amounts. So let's talk about that a little bit. So I'm a homeowner. I'm looking at doing some improvements to my home. Um, when working with Hearth and your network of folks, what are some of my options? Let's say I'm going to do, I don't know, um, I don't even know what comes up to that 15,000 number. It's interesting because you have financing options that are very low or 0% offerings for to cover their improvement project costs, right?
Mhm.
But really that works, I think you told me up to 15,000. Is that right?
Sure. So yeah, we have a network of up to 17 different lenders offering personal unsecured loans, and then we have a number of partners that do 0% intro credit card options for typically 15 plus months.
Okay.
On the personal loan space, those can technically go upwards of $250,000. But as I'm sure many folks know, it can be a bit tough to qualify for something that's a bit higher than maybe 25 or 50K, let alone find a monthly payment that is comfortable and attainable. That is probably the more important part. And on the 0% option side, again, anywhere from maybe a few thousand to 15,000 for a shorter term, that can also be something really attractive. But again, we want to capture as much of the market as possible as anyone would. So I think
Sure.
that's where the partnership was really appealing.
It's interesting, and again, I'll just share with everybody that I myself, my wife and I, we purchased this home, and I'm in a detached garage. I'm really not in a cave. It's a detached garage with a little cutout. That's where I made the studio and my office and so on and so forth. But it's been a renovation project since day one, and I'm sitting here thinking 0% up to 15,000, and I'm having trouble identifying any one thing that I've done that was less than $15,000. So I get it, So what type of projects are you seeing? And then have you noticed an imbalance? In other words, that more and more projects are surpassing that 0% credit threshold that you typically live in?
Sure. So because we're working with so many different types of contractors, I think the ones that we see really take advantage of the 0% options the most are our HVAC specialists. So doing those new installs for, hot or cold at that point. Fencing companies really seem to love it. And I would say roofers tend to
Oh, that's a
look
good
at
one.
I
it
agree with that. Yeah.
because, yeah, roofing is an interesting one because I think with them and others that are maybe in the, we'll call it $10,000 to $20,000 range, we tend to position the 0% as more of a hybrid option or sort of a partial financing approach. And I think they still appreciate being able to offer somebody that maybe was able and willing to pay cash an option to spread some of that out, even if it doesn't cover the full project. But those are some of the ones we will typically see in that
I think it also serves
range.
purpose for like deductible, right? Because a
Oh,
lot
that's
of,
a big one.
Oh,
yeah, a lot of your roofing projects are going to be backed by an insurance claim. And so, yeah, that up to 15,000 can be really helpful for them with deductibles. Yeah.
Amy, that's actually a great point. I got to tell you, I didn't even think about that, but you're right.
Yeah.
If a tree in a storm fell over on my roof, yeah, that's a good call. Okay, so however, I think we would agree that in large part, a lot of projects, and Amy, this is where you spend most of your time in a day, surpass that 15,000 number, and we're just using that as a general point, right? I'm sure the numbers navigate plus or minus away from that 15 within reason. But beyond that, now we start talking about different lending options. And Alex, you mentioned earlier like personal loans, and then credit cards. Well, then you partner up with Amy and team at Figure, and now what we find is an opportunity for secured financing. So a lot of folks, certainly a lot of listeners to this broadcast, will understand the term HELOC, home equity line of credit. But again, where our real magic is the process. So Amy, let's talk about that a little bit because you've already had some experience here, right? You've helped homeowners via contractors at a kitchen table, correct?
Correct. Yes, absolutely. I had a client the other day say, "Oh my gosh, it's like all of the pros that you would get out of a HELOC but it's kind of like a HE loan. I'm using it
Yeah.
every time. That was like the best thing I ever heard because that's really what it feels like, right? Unlearn everything you know about your typical HELOC, and that's what you'll get with Figure. So you get those longer terms where you can really buy down that monthly payment. And that's really what our homeowners are really focused on, right? Is it a monthly payment that they can afford? And so with that 30-year, they're able to really get a monthly payment that's affordable, that they can still get whatever they're looking to get done, but also be able to handle, right, a big project. So I love that. I love being able to bring a product that's going to give the homeowner control over their financing their project, right, and their home improvement, but also empower the contractor because we're putting cash in the homeowner's hand. How cool is
Right.
that? You
Yeah.
know, that's like such a value add for me. We're putting cash in their hand. And so, Mr. Contractor, I know how much labor has gone up. I know how much material has gone up. So now know that with our product, your homeowner has the cash in hand, build out that payment schedule, collect your deposit, collect the 30% at material ordered, right? Give yourself working capital to carry yourself through that project.
Yeah, I love that. And Alex, with your role at Hearth, how often, if at all, are you working directly with contractors for this, or do you guys work directly with the homeowner in the financing needs?
Sure. So I think the part that I like about it the most at Hearth is it's actually both. So
Okay.
it kind of depends on how that contractor wants to run their business. Some of them are very hands-on and they tell me, you know what, I don't really want you talking to my customer. You and I can just figure it out and we'll go from there. Some of them want nothing to do with this at all. They want to sign up for a program and say, here are the keys. Please just help me win more deals. I don't even really care how you do it. And
Right.
so it's a really healthy mix. My personal background is working directly with the homeowner in the mortgage industry. So I'm pretty comfortable with it. I know a lot of my teammates at Hearth are comfortable with it. So we can be pretty malleable to whatever the contractor is feeling.
That's, Alex, you touched on something there, and shame on me, I totally forgot, but you actually have history in the mortgage business.
I do,
You,
yes. It was
yeah, yeah, no,
so it
go
was
ahead.
about 3-ish years, I would say. I was a loan officer and then did some operations in the background a little bit, but I got to see a lot, especially that it was during 2020, where set interest rates that I think a lot of people hopefully took advantage of, whether they were already in their home or trying to buy a new one. I got to see how life-changing some of that could be for a lot of folks. Again, whether it was a purchase or whether they were refinancing their existing mortgage, but it was a really opportunistic time, and I think we're still seeing effects of that here today. So it's exciting.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. In fact, I would just share with you again, putting my mortgage guy hat on for a minute.
I'm not numbered here. This
Yeah, you
feels
are. You
unfair. I'm
you
not
are
numbered here.
outnumbered. In fact, I was going to kind of tease you a little bit on that, Amy, because Amy comes to us not from the mortgage space, but in fact from the home improvement space, largely
Yes.
solar and that type of thing, right, Amy? And so I have been holding Amy's hand from time to time to get her up to speed, if you will, right? Is that fair, Amy?
That is very fair. I'm just a girl from the unsecured world. So yes, that is very, very fair. Yes.
That I sense a song coming.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to come up with some lyrics for that. But anyway, Amy, you're doing great on that. So, Alex, both of you can answer this question actually. But what do we see as some of the biggest needs for contractors right now? What are some of the pain points, and then how does Hearth and slash Figure, Amy, on your world, help solve for those pain points?
Sure. So from what I've been seeing lately, and this has actually been the case really the whole time that I've been at Hearth over the last few years, it's needing something to help you win more deals when your projects are rightfully more expensive than they used to be. And so having financing or monthly payment options in general is great. But then what happens when you need those larger amounts that are harder to access? How do one, how do you get access to those funds, right? How do you find something more attainable? And two, how do you do it more quickly than home equity based loans typically go,
Right.
right? I think a lot of folks know that anywhere from we'll be generous and say 30 to 60 days is pretty average for either a HELOC or a cash out refinance or home equity loan, whatever you prefer to call it.
Sure.
And so those timelines just really aren't working for a lot of people. And that's probably my favorite part. Amy, I'm sure you can speak to this more, of why a partnership with Figure is great, is that it tackles both of those, right? Access to more capital and a lot faster than, the 30 to 60 that we're used to.
Yeah, I love that. I think for me, I'll take a couple steps back. What caught my eye with Hearth is contractors love a good one-stop shop, right? They don't really want to have to think about everything. And I think what contractors need more than ever are a couple things right now. Financing is definitely one of them, but I also think it's product diversification within the financing offerings, right? They want to be able to capture every customer. We're, full transparency, we're not going to capture every customer with just one product. So I love that Hearth has taken that approach, right? To be able to, let's not leave any dollars on the table, and that's empowering the contractors to make sure that they're able to make a sale every time. And being able to partner with Figure, they're able to help a contractor grow their business because they can increase their ticket sizes. And they can have that working capital, right, with having the cash on hand, and they can grow an annual sales rev, right? They can capture more clients than they were able to before. But I also think they need an expert. They always, and that's what I love, right? You being able, and I appreciate Alex, his position with the contractors. I think it's like one of my most favorite things to do is just be their expert and do whatever you need from me, I can do, right? The versatility is huge, right? And so if you want me to talk to your consumers, I can. We have the same model here at Figure. We have Cecilia. Cecilia will step in and she'll talk to consumers at a loan level, borrower level, right? Application flow. And so I think that is a huge value add for contractors, is just being that expert for them.
Yeah, I love that. And actually, as we're talking about this, I'm thinking, man, this could just keep expanding and expanding. Really, Alex, with what it is you guys do now. Question here, and again, I'm putting my loan originator hat on here for a second. When a contractor is working with Hearth and then a homeowner, and you have numerous financing options. We talked a little bit about that 0% option. You have credit card lending options, you have personal loan options, and then you've got the Figure option as far as the secured home equity loan, if you will. When you're reviewing those with contractors or homeowners, do you guys provide almost like a sheet or a side-by-side of what their options are? Or is it just one type of thing?
Sure. So the way that our product and development side of things has done it over the last few years is that we put all of the different options in front of them, but we also make it very easy to filter between personal loans, credit cards, and soon to be having the home equity line of credit options in there as well. So you could filter it over or with a number of factors. So lowest APR, if that's what's most important to you.
Sure.
Lowest monthly payment, which is what I typically will push people to do in that sense, from an affordability standpoint. But whatever it might be, it puts them all in one place, and then they can, filter as they see fit.
Well, that's awesome. I love hearing that, by the way, Alex. And I know I kind of put you on the spot by asking that question, but I'm a true fan of what are a homeowner's options, educating the homeowner enough, right, to where they're making the decision as to what works for them. So I love the fact that you're kind of giving all of their options at one point. And this, Amy, speaks very much to your point. You made the comment that we're not going to have a loan for every homeowner. Mm-hmm. That is spot on, 100% true, full transparency, right? However, what we will have is a yes or no within minutes. And that's the key, right? That's the real magic. And I actually tell our loan originators, our partners, loan originators, I will actually say that, listen, it's actually okay if your homeowner didn't get offered. Now, why would I say that? I say that because they will then have a soft credit score. They'll have an AVM giving them an idea of value, and they'll be able to say, you know what? It didn't work here, but here's my strategy as a result.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Which then, Alex, makes everything you all do just line up seamlessly. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And I love our pre-qualification process, because when you have folks that aren't so comfortable with offering financing, it is such a light lift for a homeowner to go in and enter a couple fields of information, not one of them being their social security number,
Right.
right? And being able to have a real offer in front of them.
Yeah, no, that's huge. That's pretty significant. Are either of you hearing, and I'm sure you are, hearing any trends in the home improvement industry or things that maybe listeners should be aware of? What's going on? I know it's been mentioned a couple times already that cost of materials has definitely been. Now, I haven't, my renovation kind of slowed down a little bit because I came to work here at Figure, and then, I've been a little busy, but I got to get back on it. But I will share with everybody that I was doing some siding on the house. It's my home is batten board siding, right? Just good old fashioned farmhouse. One sheet, one sheet of 4x8 siding was $75. One. A sheet of plywood, folks. And by the way, I'm talking about a sheet of plywood that's not even 3/8 inch thick. I'm like, what in the world? So cost of materials, that's definitely a big concern for contractors and stuff right now, I'm sure, when they're bidding out projects. But anything else that you're hearing from contractors, trends or things that people might need to be aware of? Solar's got to be a big one, huh, Amy?
So solar's, yeah, it's been a shaky market, right, for solar. We've seen a lot of giants fall, and a lot of our friends. It's a very tight industry, and you see a lot of great people, right, be put in some really tough positions, and it's a little bit of survival mode. And I think with the readjustment of portfolio performance and rates and increase in dealer fees, affordability has been a struggle the past couple years. I definitely am a solar pirate. So, this is this
Well,
sings to my heart, but I think affordability is the reason for solar. That's why people go solar. And so when that is shook, and you can't really see the silver lining, products like products like ours just really, to me, are just so important. And it's really a trailblazer. It's going to change, and it's going to change the market, but it's also going to bring it back to where it needs to be. And take that dealer fee out of it. Now, Mr. Solar can be competitive with his monthly payment, because that's the sale. I think that's the difference with solar and a lot of our other home improvement verticals, is that the monthly payment is actually the sale. It's not the solar system. It's not the type of solar panels you're putting on a roof. Sure, there are going to be homeowners that do care about those things, but at the end of the day, more than 80%, they're like, put pizza boxes on my roof. If they're giving me energy, I don't care, right? If they're offsetting my electricity bill, cool. They're selling the monthly payment because they're replacing one for the other. And so being able to, it's exciting to be able to be a part of bringing a product to market that has that 30 years, that has the lower interest rate, that has no dealer fee. It's almost just, it's monumental for me, because it is really bringing affordability back into that space.
So what I love about this from both of you, and Alex, you've said affordability probably 5 times. Amy, you've said affordability probably that or more. And I love this topic because let's be very clear, everybody. Affordability is a major concern in our country right now. And I've actually had folks here at Figure, engineers, product development teams and stuff. We're doing some direct debt payoffs and whatnot in our traditional product model right now. It doesn't necessarily fit so much for contractors, but nonetheless, that's the real pain, right? And folks are looking to find ways to reduce their overhead or improve their affordability. And I actually had somebody say to me, well, why would a homeowner pay off a car that has a 7-year term and flip it to a 30-year fixed term? The answer is simple, folks. Does it make the most financial sense to stretch out a 7-year loan over 30 years? Maybe, maybe not. But the majority of homeowners, and Alex, I'm sure you see this as well, what they really are is payment conscious. And so if a car payment is $950, which is the national average right in there, I think the last time I saw it. Can you imagine that, by the way? Um, kind of crazy, right? And then they absolve that debt, they pay it off with a figure HELOC, and now their payment's $300. That's the pain, and that's what's being solved for. And I have to assume that, because you guys have mentioned it a ton of times, I have to assume that's the exact same scenario for home improvement, right?
Absolutely.
It's affordability.
Affordability is huge. That monthly payment that they can manage, right? A manageable monthly payment. I want to touch on something you said though, Tim. You said we have the direct debt, right? Buy down.
Yeah.
Pay down.
Pay down.
Pay off.
Pay off. Yeah.
And teledebt. And you said, oh, it doesn't really make, matter to like the contractors. Oh, but wait, there's more. It does. So, so one really cool thing that we have with IntelliDebt is that it is actually looking for specialized home improvement loans and solar loans. So when our contractors are in home and they're like, oh, we just did a solar system, 6 months ago, we're still paying that off. Well, they can refinance it, right? They can pay it off and slap it into that figure loan on top of the new kitchen or on top of the pool in the backyard. So I think that's really fun to be able to let contractors know is that our system does look for those loans and we will directly pay them off for them.
Okay, so you win. Awesome. Way to call me out on that. You're exactly right.
I gotta dish it out.
Look at that, Alex.
I gotta dish it.
Look at that, Alex. A year ago, she had no knowledge of mortgage whatsoever. Now all of a sudden, she's talking about debt consolidation. Look at Amy.
How the tables have turned.
It's a great point, and that's actually, I think, it's the same sentiment, funny enough, that we try to empower all of our contractors to do, is that you don't need a long-standing background in this kind of stuff to be able to not only speak to it, but just leverage it, to help you win more deals at that point. So it's nice to see another point of alignment, with Hearth and Figure in that sense. But Amy, you also were talking earlier just about, again, people being payment conscious and that being the sale at the end of the day. I would say that's one of the main reasons why we've become as focused on the financing space as we have. But I appreciate that we're not necessarily resting on our laurels and acknowledging a place where we can do better, and that is with these bigger projects. So it's the exact sentiment and the exact reason why I think we're all here right now, is to try to continue finding better options and not just be satisfied with what we previously had.
Yeah, no,
as
that's
many tools in the tool belt, right, that you can give them. I think that's what makes Hearth so special, is that you're constantly trying to add more value for the contractor, right? So they can service their homeowners. And I think that's huge. It's product diversification. It's a one-stop shop. And it's making sure that, you have your ear to the ground and you hear what they're saying and you take it back to the drawing board and you come out with something that they're asking for, and I think that's huge. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Alex, do you by any chance have off the top of your head, again, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, but any success stories or wins or examples of where your network of homeowners and contractors have seen some real success?
Absolutely. We actually highlight these every month in our company town hall of folks that, again, are having a lot of success with our platform. And a lot of them that I've seen recently are really appreciating the additional hand-holding, I would say, not so much for the contractor, but more so for their homeowners. I think that's what we've seen a big shift in, is that, like I mentioned a little while ago, some contractors, they don't want you talking to their homeowners. It's their business. They want to run it the way they want to run it. Others, and I would say more, are going to fall in this category, the more time that passes. They don't feel like they want to dive into all of that. They want to sign up for a program and sign up rather for a partnership that's going to help them win those jobs. And so a lot of the ones I've been seeing lately are just the ones where we're taking things off their plate, but we're also getting back to them. We're communicating with the contractors, whether something works or not. Not everybody that applies for financing is going to get funded, as we know.
Sure.
Right. But What level of service did you provide them? Did you explore every single avenue? And did you deliver the information in a way that, the customer, the homeowner in this case, felt comfortable with, even if it wasn't the best news, right? And I think relaying all that information to the contractor has been a pretty big percentage of our recent success stories, even if it's not necessarily something that shows up in the numbers or the stats.
I love
Yeah.
that. I think when you have, your in-home reps, right, that are sitting there and they are sitting at that kitchen table and they're giving proposals and they're selling their product, they have a sales pitch and they use it every time because it works and they've perfected it. And so the second you bring in a new product or you bring in something new, it shakes their world. They don't want to have to worry about that. Their job is to sell the roof. Their job is to sell the bathroom remodel, right? That's their job. And so once they do that, they want to be able to walk away and know their sale is a sale and nothing's going to shake it. And so when you can come in and you can help them and be that financing expert for them and talk to their homeowner and help them through the process, that is just so much more value for Mr. Rep because he doesn't have to worry about that. He did his job. He sold the project, right? Now we're just helping him full circle and close the deal. So I think that's gold.
Yeah, and I want to tap into a little bit about what you just said there, Alex, because it intrigues me, and I just want to clarify. So not only are you working with the homeowners, and to your point, it might not even be the greatest news. Maybe they weren't able to get financing, but confirm with me if you can. You're also communicating that throughout the process with the contractor as well.
Yes. So
Yeah, that's huge, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we noticed that I think when we were a much smaller company and we didn't have the manpower to do that level of outreach and provide that level of service, I think the more that we've grown and the more that we've really just listened to our contractors on what do you want out of a financing process, that open communication always comes up. And so that's something that our team really values. It's something that I personally really value. And I am a big believer of leaning into the uncomfortable conversations because, we would rather just at least have them, privy to the information, even if it's not, what they were hoping for.
Of course. And listen, I tell loan originators and sales teams all the time that even when the answer isn't yes, right? We're talking about potentially a brand new client that's now entered their what I'll refer to as their sphere of influence, right? The same has to be true with contractors. Even if they weren't able to do such and such for said homeowner today, they most likely will be able to do it in the future. They have a new contact in their database that they can continue with outreach. Does that make sense the way I'm saying that? So I guess what I'm saying is you're still building clientele, whether it's right now, today, or even off into the future, by using Hearth, by going into that network of contractors. So let's talk about that a little bit. You guys have contractors that basically sign up with you. Is that right?
Yes. So home improvement contractors in pretty much any space, will sign up with us on an annual basis. And at the moment, I don't know the specific number. I know it's well over 10,000 at this point. We've got a pretty big network of folks. And so, yeah, they'll sign up with us. And we've got a really good team of customer success specialists here that help with onboarding, implementation, ongoing training, and really most importantly, I would say the relationship building as well. But we find a good mix of all of it as much as we can.
That's awesome. Now, of these 10,000 plus or minus contractors in network, are you guys nationwide?
We are. There's a couple of states that we don't provide financing in. I know off the top of my head, for example, Maryland or Nevada and things like that, where we're not licensed, but almost the entire country, I would say. So it's pretty widespread.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Amy, where are we? Like is Hearth already? Are you, Amy, Alex, you guys already fired up? And are we adopting that figure process into your platform currently, or are we still working on getting that live?
I think slow and steady wins the race, right? We're definitely starting off slow and finding our groove. And, we've had a soft launch. and plan to, hit the ground running come Q1. But we've had some great success already with the partnership, and we've helped contractors close and win some projects. And so that's been huge. And we're finding our, good cadence between, my team and Alex's team and being able to work well together. And yeah, I think that, 2025 is gonna be a great year.
No, that's awesome. And you
Yeah.
mentioned first quarter. And by the way, I see an incredible partnership brewing here. So kudos to the both of you. I think this whole conversation is leading to bigger and better things, if you will, mostly from service levels. And Alex, that's right up your alley. It's like, how do we provide the best levels of service possible to not only the contractors, but also the homeowners? So kudos to Hearth and everything you guys are doing over there.
Thank
Now,
you.
Amy, you mentioned Q1, and that leads me to a question of, Alex, are you seeing seasonality? In other words, does this time of year all of a sudden, remodel projects, does it slow way down?
I think there's always a need for projects, and my phone is still ringing just as much as it was in the summer. So I can't personally feel any sort of difference. I think if anything, our HVAC space has been spending a little bit more time with me on the phone. People's furnace going out with it being colder in a lot of the country at the moment. So I don't personally really notice anything with seasonality, but I know the terminology is out there. But as a growing company, there's always someone to help. So I don't really see it.
Yeah, well, and I would imagine that in your space, again, sometimes seasonality actually leads to more or additional opportunities. Again, if someone's tree fell through their roof, to
Yeah.
Amy's point earlier, I suppose they have to deal with that, right? You can't wait until June to replace the big hole in your roof.
No, very, very time sensitive.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that is
I think you
awesome.
see some peaks and pits, right, with different verticals. And so, like, your roofers are like, don't even look at me right now. I'm on a roof because they're so busy. You'll get a lot of that depending on what side of the country you are on with our HVAC friends. Summertime is a little crazy. You can't even get them on the phone. And then same with solar, really busy spring and summertime. Remodeling, you'll see, interesting enough, from my experience, October has been always the busiest year for remodeling.
No kidding.
And I just imagine my mother standing at her kitchen sink and going, I'm not hosting another Thanksgiving until this is redone, and okay, let's get it done. Right. But you do end up seeing a lot of remodeling done before the holidays, which is interesting. So, yeah, seasonality is fun to watch and, see if you can prove it out, every year.
Yeah.
But to Alex's point, somebody always needs something. That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, and I will tell you, obviously, being in the mortgage space as long as I have been, seasonality is a little different for us because you come into October, November, December. Of course, it's all about turkeys and Christmas trees, and so especially the purchase market historically tends to slow down. Alex, you may remember that a little bit from your. Even though the time that Alex was in the business, it was like, oh my gosh, people were buying homes as fast as they would come on the market, right? I mean, it was just.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky with that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you did. I'll just share with you, Alex, kind of a funny side story here. When I started in the industry, we went through, I no sooner got started, and we went through a big refi boom because interest rates reached 6.5%. And now,
Oh man.
Now getting 6.5% would be, good luck, we're all counting on you type of thing.
Yeah, you're thrilled today.
Yeah, so you were in that space definitely at the right time. Back on track here for a second. Do homeowners end up coming directly to Hearth without a contractor? And then if so, do you team them up with contractors in their area, or is it only being fed from the contractor?
Great question. So it's a lot less common. I don't have the specific number, but if I had to guess, I mean, maybe 5% of the call volume that we get is someone that's not associated with a contractor in our network, and maybe they just found us organically. We do have a couple of lending partners that you can find through our website. But I would say the biggest benefit is that if you are a homeowner and you're connected with a contractor that's, you know, in our network, you have access, you go from basically 2 lenders to 17,
Right.
right? And so that, I would say the biggest benefit there is the way our network is designed. It's to try to cast as wide of a net as you can. Like some of them work with lower credit scores and lower loan amounts,
Sure.
some opposite, and then a big bulk of them right in the middle. So we try to get a little of everyone, but you don't necessarily have that opportunity if you call directly.
Right. Okay. So now for the big question is, well, one, how long has Hearth been around?
We've been around, I want to say a little over 6 or 7 years at this point.
Okay.
And, you know, started more so as financing only, transitioned into that one-stop shop. And I think we're coming back around to reevaluate where, you know, the monthly payment options that we have currently had are, and
Sure.
what kind of changes we can make. And that's, you know, why we're here right now.
Yeah. And so any feel or thought on your part, Alex, as to with Hearth, like what's on the horizon? What are some big things you may or may not be working on type of thing? Any thought on that?
Yeah, so I mean, this is one of the biggest ones right now, I would say, is what can we do to not only create better monthly payment options for our contractors and their customers more specifically, but really leaning into the service aspect. You know, how can we create the best experience possible? And like we said earlier, regardless of the end result, right? What do you like? What is the experience of a customer or a contractor that is when things don't necessarily go their way? Are they still willing to stick it out with us? And I think over the years, we've seen that our efforts are leading to a good change in that department, but we're really putting a big focus on that moving forward. So
Yeah.
there's a couple ways that could go with folks, you know, above my pay grade on that one. But from what I've seen, the service aspect is a really big one that we're focusing on and have been focusing on for a while.
That's awesome. And I mean, every time you say service, I love it, Alex, because sometimes people confuse fintech. When they hear the term fintech or tech in general, they automatically triggers lack of service. You know what I mean? Almost like lack of in-person intervention. When in fact, it's a combination of the two, at least in my opinion, it's a combination of the two that is the real magic. You know, the tech is great to get quick answers, put strategies together, that type of thing. But it really works best when there's a real human being actually helping said homeowner and contractor in your world. You know,
Absolutely. I think that's the big difference, right? And it's the same kind of mindset as why, you know, in all of our training calls with our contractors, we tell them not to say the word financing, but rather monthly payments, because we're talking about the same thing at the end of the day, but
sure.
the connotation or what it means to that customer, very different. And so you know, again, software as a service, we try to cover both ends of the, I guess the acronym at that
Right.
point.
Yeah, well, no, listen, we've talked about it. Affordability payment is really the key. And it's so funny for any of us that have gone and bought a car. I haven't bought one recently, but it's that whole game, right? It's like, okay, well, you buy this car and they circle on a piece of paper. Here's your payment right here, yay or nay. They're having a conversation based on the payment for said product, not the cost of said product. You see what I mean? And I think that's smart on your all's part, you know, to give those options. So kudos to your Hearth team there.
Definitely. And what I will say too is that exact scenario of, you know, the car salesman saying, well, here's your monthly payment. I think a lot of us have been there and they've seen, well, what are all these extra fees that are baked in here, right? Like, well, okay, well, what is the total price? And they kind of keep shifting it away to the monthly payment, maybe not necessarily with the customer's best interest in mind,
Sure.
but that's the biggest difference. That's actually one of the little reasons why I tell all of my contractors to say monthly payment instead of financing, is that oddly enough, the term financing seems to associate them with that car salesman that didn't have their best interest in mind. But we don't have all of those extra fees, and neither does someone like Figure. So again, you get back to just offering the best service you can, and I think that's part of it. But you know, the words you use definitely matter.
Oh, no question. I'm a big fan. It sounds like you guys we align perfectly from a sense of Here's how I like to say it, Alex. I say educate, advise, and strategize. So anytime we can help contractors in yours and Amy's world have a better understanding, right? To be able to help educate, advise, and strategize with a homeowner, which is where Hearth service levels come in, right? Not putting it all on the contractor to try and do that, but actually you have teams of people built to do that.
Correct.
Yeah. So as we get ready to wrap up here, by the way, this has been a great conversation. Are you having fun, Amy?
Yes.
Being that you straightened me out
Surprisingly enough, yeah.
on the direct debt consolidation and everything, you got me all ironed out. Amy taught me how to be a loan originator today, so I'll take it. But Alex, I definitely, as we put this out there and for folks to watch and or listen to, would it be a good idea? Like, if contractors are interested, should they reach out to you and have that conversation as to how to become a part of the Hearth network? I hope I'm saying that the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, whether it's something where you are a contractor in a smaller project space, like again, fencing, HVAC, I know I'm missing a number of them. We're a good fit. And I think we're becoming an even better fit for folks that are doing bigger projects. We'll leave it at just general contractors, but there's a large list of folks with high ticket price or high ticket
Sure.
items, that is. So yeah, I would say definitely reach out to us. We've got a really good team of people here at the end of the day that want to see our contractors succeed. And, our CEO, Misha, will bring up a statistic in pretty much any of our town halls that, 50% of home improvement contractors will go out of business in their first year. And
Wow.
that number, for one, is way too high, but it's the inspiration and the motivation of, I think, why we're doing what we're doing is we not only want to see that number go down, we really need to. And I think a partnership like this and the things that we're already doing are hopefully going to lead to that.
Right. And I didn't ask this earlier, but it just popped into my head. In regards to larger projects and whatnot, and the type of stuff you're seeing, are you seeing a demand for ADU projects? Are you seeing that come across from contractors that are facilitating accessory dwelling units? I guess I shouldn't just use the acronym.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, we have a lot of companies or contractors that are in California, and that specifically is where I tend to see a lot of those, which Amy, I know you appreciate being out there. It's
So is Tim. Me and Tim have
I
this conversation
that's right.
all
That's
the
right.
time. Yes.
Yeah, you're both out there. I always,
Yeah.
anytime I hear the term ADU, I just go and check where the contractor is, and it's always seemingly California.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see. I feel like you need nicer weather for that to normally be an option, but I've started to see them a decent amount, and that again, I think, is one where already since we've started working together, I've definitely been recommending Figure and the HELOC route.
Yeah.
But I imagine that'll probably become more common.
Well, again, I'll share with you both from a market perspective and solely because of affordability. In fact, I myself am a great example of this. I have 3 boys. My oldest and my daughter-in-law and granddaughters are in Texas. I have 2 younger sons, 28 and 24. They're both still here at home. By the way, I love having them here. Why? Because it helps address the affordability issue.
Mhm.
More and more homeowners don't certainly want to go buy a bigger home. And more importantly, their children and or their parents, it could be either end of the spectrum, because of affordability, it's bringing the family unit back together. I heard an economist this last year. I was at an event, an economist was speaking, and she said something very interesting. She said, it will become commonplace for no less than 2 generations to be living under the same roof.
Yep.
Now, under the same roof could be used loosely, right? Because now people are putting ADUs in. And to your point, Alex, that is a huge thing in California right now. And in fact, even myself, I need to find a way to do it here. So maybe I'll reach out and see if Amy can get me squared away. And then, Amy, for you, we're certainly going to have industry folks listening and watching this call. And I want to encourage, but tell me if I shouldn't, but I want to encourage anybody, loan originators, that type of thing, to reach out to you and your team to dive
Absolutely.
into those opportunities, because I think we're seeing some real wins there. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just another way for lead gen, right? I love talking to LOs all day because I'm like, it's passive income. You have somebody doing the work for you, and we also give them the support to train these contractors on their behalf. So I think that's helpful. I think the relationship with Hearth is huge. We found ourselves in Dallas a few weeks ago at International Pool and Spa Expo, and something that the pool industry lacks is the one-stop shop. And so we had some pool contractors that were asking us about that, and we were able to refer them to Hearth, right? So it kind of is it's a back and forth. It's helping me bring value, again, wanting that expert. I don't just care about my figure product. I care about your business. And I think that is really cool to be able to have these partnerships out here where I can bring other value to these contractors, right? And so being able to send people Hearth's way has been a lot of fun.
No, that's fantastic. Well, listen, crew, special guests today. I think we probably need to wrap it up. Any final thoughts at all, Alex or Amy at all?
No, I appreciate you guys having me here, and it's exciting to see where the partnership's going and how we can help more people win more jobs.
Yeah, no, this has been a ton of fun. I've learned a lot. I hope the listeners will learn a lot as well. And most importantly, understand my opinion, understand where the need is and where the pain is and what the solution is for said pain. I want to encourage anybody listening, especially in the contractor world, reach out to Hearth. I'll put your contact information, everything, Alex, down in the show notes and whatnot. And Amy, same for you, loan originators, realtors, any other partners that want to have a conversation about how to better market or build their database on a home improvement perspective, to definitely reach out to you as well. So listen, Alex, Amy, thank you so much for being on the show today. How's that?
Thank you. That was fun. Happy
Yeah,
it's over. Great time.
Ton of fun. Remember, TROWE, think, retain, obtain, win every day. It's what we do. Coming to you from the Figure Sales Success Studio. Have a great week and a very happy holiday, everybody. We are done for now. See ya.